Welcome. I'm David Cushman, Executive Research Leader at HFS Research, and this is a conversation I've been looking forward to. HFS has just published our first ever Horizons report dedicated to agentic technology, an in-depth assessment of the firms building and delivering the platforms, infrastructure, and autonomous capabilities that are powering enterprise agentic transformation. We evaluated 12 technology firms looking at the why, what, how, and most importantly, the so what of their agentic offerings. Why does this matter for enterprise leaders right now? Well, because we're watching a structural shift. Agentic AI isn't about pilots or co-pilots anymore. The leading firms have moved beyond orchestration. Their agents now plan, execute, and close work autonomously, with humans governing exceptions rather than driving every step. That's the emerging paradigm we call services as software. And it's already starting to decouple revenue from headcount and reshape how enterprises buy, price, and consume work. 7 firms earned a place in Horizon 3 as market leaders, the firms showing the strongest, most credible evidence of the shift. Alongside hyperscalers and enterprise SaaS giants, one of those 7 is EMA, an agentic AI native that's done something genuinely interesting. It's productized AI employees that combine enterprise-grade security with measurable bottom-line outcomes at scale. So I'm delighted to be joined today by EMA's Chief Operating Officer, Swati Trahan. Welcome.
Thanks, David. Excited to be here.
So one of the things that stood out in our research is that Emma has gone further than most in genuinely productizing agentic work. Over 50 pre-built AI employees, and I suspect that number's growing all the time. You got fixed pricing and the ability to take complex multi-turn functions like level 2 and level 3 ticket resolution and deliver them as a service rather than as a tool. So my first question, in real enterprise environments today, what does services as software actually look like for an Emma AI employee from the moment it's deployed, it's closing work autonomously, and how is that fundamentally different from just buying a platform and building agents on top?
Yeah, great question, David. So first, I'll say from how it comes out as service as a software is we are moving people from orchestrated work from different systems to agentic orchestration, right? And so each of our AI employees, now we have more than 50, as said, AI employees. Each of them are multi-agent workflows that are delivering work end to end, automating work end to end across HR, IT, finance, support, procurement, etc., etc. Lots of these have led to now 60 to 70% of work being autonomously handled, with human being more the escalation point than the norm for the orchestration. And human is in the loop to make the right calls wherever needed or the right escalation points wherever needed, right? And with the deployments, it's been just very fast. You can go from, hey, here is what I want, to fully deployed at hundreds of thousands of user scale in a matter of just weeks. And that's what we are able to unlock, which you don't get as a platform, right? Where I get access to a platform where I have to build every single thing. You won't be able to get to that speed to value or that complexity of the use cases that we are able to deliver right out of the box.
So our research highlighted 2 of your deployments in particular that I think enterprise leaders should pay attention to. First, there's an agentic HR assistant for a global conglomerate that unifies more than 20 back-end systems, collapsing turnaround time from years to weeks. And it was lifting HR efficiency by 70%, hitting 90% accuracy, and saving close to $12 million. They're impressive figures. Second, an agentic support deployment for a B2C fintech that's autonomously resolving 80% of tickets, boosting customer satisfaction, and delivering a 40 times return on investment. So walk us through what's actually been hard about delivering one of those. What had to be true inside the customer's organization for numbers like these to become real? And what should every enterprise leader watching this video be doing inside their own business right now to give themselves a shot at the same kind of result?
Yeah. those numbers are real, and we have seen even more success with a lot of our other clients, and just in the matter of within the first year of deployment, right? That's where the speed to value comes from. Uh, a few things that are needed to make it work. Right? First, technology is just part of the answer. We are talking about can redefining what work looks like, what's the new operating model. So change management becomes a big part of this, and that's where each of these clients, each of these examples, the champions led that from the get go. How do you bring your teams along? How do you bring your users along so that you get usage at scale quickly? Because you can't get outputs if you don't have usage, right? And so that from very get go, we work with our clients. We are more of a partner than just a tool that you buy. Right? We help them think through what's the right operating model to put in place, the new world of human plus AI. And so hence, what do humans do? How do you train them differently? And then in that operating model, how do you scale phase by phase? Second, of course, data is important. Garbage in, garbage out with anything in technology. But at the same time, you don't need super clean data in one place, right? But you still need data either in different systems, or it could be in humans' head that we then take out in our design workshops, right? So we work with their SMEs to understand what are their processes, what are the inputs, what are the constraints, and what are the outputs they want, and then we are able to orchestrate that over above that. So but it does matter if you do not have complete data. You need to put some work to help set the AI employees up for success, right? And then finally, from an accuracy point of view, testing matters. So in our implementations, I said a few weeks, most of that time goes into testing and giving feedback, because this is generative AI, this is generative technology, does not work 100% on day one. It's also more human like. So it can take decisions, it can do subjective work, but at the same time, you need to give the right feedback, the right instructions for it to do really well. And so that's where the time from the enterprise also goes in during implementation. You do UATs, several of them, before they hit the right accuracy targets for that use case, and then goes into production. So that's kind of what I would say, three things in a few of these examples to make these numbers real and come about very fast.
So that's great, because I think it's a nice hitting with the reality stick of what it requires to really make AI function in the real life of a messy enterprise. Our research was pretty unambiguous. We found the single biggest barrier to scaling agentic AI inside large enterprises is trust. So people need to trust in the autonomous decision making, especially in regulated workflows. Enterprises don't just want governance at design time, they want it enforced during runtime. And I know you guys stand out in our assessment for going deep with SOC 2 and HIPAA and NIST and GDPR and everything else that's required to actually make things trustworthy in the organization, from audit logs and explainability and human in the loop controls, all of these baked into the platform. So my final question, when a CIO or CISO at a regulated enterprise sits across the table from you and says, convince me I can put one of your AI employees into a production grade workflow tomorrow, what do you actually show them? And how is Emma's approach to runtime governance different from the platforms enterprises may be evaluating alongside you?
Yeah, great question. And when you work with enterprises and regulated industries like we have, you work in healthcare, insurance, public sector in the US, in the UK, in Europe, cybersecurity, et cetera, et cetera. So we work in a lot of regulated industries where if you don't trust the platform, you don't trust the solution, nothing can happen, right? So it has been part of our strategy from day one. Of course, we've done the work on every relevant compliance certification, and we continue to add more to our repertoire. I think we're one of the very few companies in the world to be ISO 42001 audited and certified, and we keep on adding more certifications. A lot of things happen in the runtime, and many of them you mentioned already. So full auditability, full observability, explainability of anything that any agent does. That is what we show the CISOs. That is what we show the CIOs in the platform. Hey, it's not just a checklist. It's not just a set of documents or policies for these certifications, but it's actually in the product, and you can see it live for every action that any agent is taking. Right? So at an AI employee level, you can see what all agents did for any kind of workflow, which agent was triggered, what data did they get access to, what data did they write into another application, what kind of decisions they made, where did they fail, and what did they learn from that that goes back into the AI employee, into the continuous learning, right? So it's full auditability, full explainability of every single action, every single answer, every single work that any of these agents do. Of course, human in the loop or human in control when needed for the right use cases. I mentioned escalation points, but then some decisions like hiring decisions, human in the loop, not just being informed, but actually taking the decision where they're enabled to make decisions faster. And now customers can also describe where they want such controls to be there. So that is what gives confidence to any CIO or CISO on, okay, this is a platform where trust, security, compliance, protection is very much part of the product. It's not an afterthought. It's not bolted on later. It's also in production, thinking through at each layer of the stack how data governance is modeled, how localization of data is done for the different use cases.
Got it. Thank you. So there's a lot in our Horizons report on where the agentic technology market is heading and what enterprise leaders should be doing about it. Emma's story is a great example of why this matters now. If you're watching this and want the full picture across all 12 firms we've evaluated, the HFS Horizons Agentic Technology 2026 report is available now at hfsresearch.com. I'm David Cushman. Thanks for watching.